Hi, my name is Rachel Douglas, and this is my third photo for my narrative critique part two. So, in this photo that I chose, I immediately looking at it got a sense of kind of like I was going crazy, and like the picture or like the view of this was from someone who is almost like psychotic. In addition, upon first looking at this, the picture kind of gave me a sense of loneliness and the sense of danger that comes with being alone. Also, while looking at this photo, I think it also provides a feeling of abandonment and loss of hope. The photographer does a really good job portraying these few themes that I mentioned before. First, by choosing to use black and white for this photograph. By using black and white, it kind of creates a stark contrast between the light and the dark within this picture that has been taken. By doing this, it with the light showing, there's one light spot, and then the rest is this kind of stark darkness that surrounds it. Kind of going on with the first thing I said, another thing that I think he did pretty strongly was only using kind of like that one single light on the ceiling. As the picture kind of continues on, there are other lights, but kind of the main focus is this light, and it's kind of just a single light shining on the entire picture, and everything that surrounds it is dark in black. And that kind of correlated with the theme that it was just like lonely. And you kind of had this like one light, which is almost kind of like this like one person, and then everything else around it is like dark. With kind of the darkness that surrounds it, a lot of people kind of correlate darkness with kind of like fear and danger. And that also put an emphasis on, with feeling lonely, there's kind of this sense of like danger to yourself and the people around you. A third thing that I think was probably one of the strongest components of his picture was using fading lines. So, kind of like starting out as kind of like a wide shot, almost like you're kind of standing in that place in the hallway. And as it continues, it kind of, that space that you're looking at gets smaller and smaller and smaller, but it doesn't end. And so, by using fading lines to kind of create that sense, it's this feeling that you're kind of like walking through this hallway like almost forever, and it doesn't end, and you can't see an ending, which again correlates to kind of almost this abandonment and this loss of hope, and kind of like you keep going and you keep going and you keep going, and there's kind of like no sense of it ever coming to an end. I think this was a really strong photograph. But there are a couple of things that I would change or maybe add to the photo to strengthen their theme. The first thing that I would suggest is perhaps putting almost like a shadowy figure or someone relatively close up, probably by like the first pair of doors. And I would just kind of put that in there, and I think that would also kind of create a sense of eeriness within the photo. And you have this very like negative theme, and you have this black and white, which makes it like very strong. And I think by having this, figure where maybe you only see his like shadow and maybe he has a hood on, it kind of creates this once again kind of like eeriness and this fear and like being scared of like the unknown. In addition to having someone, like in the photo, you could also take the subject, you could have his back turned, you could have him kind of maybe crouching against the wall, and along with kind of like that sense of like eeriness and wonder and kind of like being scared but also being curious, it could also put a stronger emphasis on the loneliness because you have this person that is maybe sitting in the light but everything around him is darkness. Once again, I think this photo and the elements of design are extremely strong, and there is not much that I would change.